What has happened to high-end audio? Paul asked this question, and he's from Cedar Falls, Iowa. Paul, my first contact with high-end audio was probably about 1968. Now, let's see, that was 2 years after I graduated from high school. I had built my own stereo system at that point, but I wouldn't say I was into high-end audio at that point, so you're ahead of me, Paul. This was the classic mouth-open experience, like, jaw-dropping. I was hooked, and since then, I've been actively involved, mainly looking for that great system, and every time I go to the shows, I don't find it. Every room I go into, it seems to have lost it. So, I'm paraphrasing here. What's happened? Well, you're not the only person that's asked this question. Oh, by the way, and I hate to always say this with apologies to Ohm's Law listeners, we're standing next to the side panels from the new speakers. This is the small speaker, the AN thing. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And this thing weighs probably 50 pounds. What I'm looking at is a piece of beautiful wood. It's 3 inches thick, solid, and it is veneered in the most beautiful walnut you've ever seen. Beautifully done. And on the side here, if you can see it, these are that's going to be the grill. I'm looking at some little slots in the wood. That'll be the grill for the woofer. Isn't that gorgeous? And then we're playing with there's some black ones here. You just want to rub it. Oh man. We're hoping that these very speakers go to Expona in Chicago. That's our hope. Okay, so what's happened to high-end audio? Well, I guess I'm not as old either as Paul, but that doesn't matter. I got involved in high-end audio in the early 1970s, and that wasn't too far away from Paul's introduction. And that was the heyday and the very beginnings of an explosion in high-end audio, where dealers were kings, where passion ran rampant. You had beautifully curated systems. I remember Jonas Miller, an iconic dealer in Los Angeles, and if Jonas liked you, I mean, yeah, this was the crazy days, right? If you were liked by Jonas, you could go down to his shop and he would assemble a system for you. And it wasn't, let me listen to this. He just put a system together. You're going to have this amp and this preamp, and man, it was like, holy shit, it was just magnificent. He was a master at that. And today, all that's gone. That went the way of the dodo bird. It just went away. And we've been through some of the reasons why it's gone away, and those aren't really relevant, or it isn't going to add to the discussion of why they went away. But let's just say that, those kind of dealers, while I'm sure they exist in small pockets around the world, they are so far and few between as to not play a role anymore. And that role has now gone over to the manufacturers, because that's all that's left. There aren't really audio advisors. There aren't really people that make a living curating systems, because, and we've talked about this before, a hi-fi system is synergy. It takes a lot of knowledge, skill, and heart to put together a truly great system. And so you have a company, take a great company like, I don't know, Wilson Audio or Kef. I mean, pick a speaker company, and they put their heart and souls into these speakers. And If you go to a show for a couple of vendors, like Wilson, sometimes like Kef, who else puts on the occasional really excellent show? Well, a few companies do. Most cobble together what they can at a show and do the best they can, which is why you're hearing that. But of course, occasionally you go to a show and it's like, oh, this is great, I love it. It's because manufacturers aren't necessarily masters at crafting whole solutions and then outfitting them into a hotel room. They're not Jonas Millers. They're, you know, I mean, they're people who are passionate about speakers, or they're people that are passionate about amplifiers or DACs or whatever. And this very subject is why we at PS Audio are going to make our own loudspeakers. Because I believe, down in my heart, the only way out of this, the only way to bring back what we had in high-end audio, is through curation, is through carefully crafting and cobbling together systems that work to create magic. And the only way I know how to do that is to make it all myself. I know we can take a DAC, we can take an amplifier, we can take a preamplifier and make magic, but I can't guarantee that magic is going to come through your speakers. Your speakers may not be synergistic with PS Audio electronics, and I can't guarantee any of that unless I can make the whole chain from the AC wall socket to your ear. If I can do that, which I can, we will, that's the only way this is ever going to work. Not that PS Audio is the only company that can do it, please. Yeah, I don't mean that. I just mean, I think what's going to happen is more manufacturers in the high end have to realize the same thing that we've realized and start building complete systems. Now, not everybody has the chops to do it. We, you know, I mean, in areas where we don't have the chops, we bring people in. We have Ted Smith designing our digital electronics. The guy's a genius. We've got Bascom King designing our electronics. We have Darren Myers. We have Bob Stadther. I mean, and we have Arnie Nudell, one of the greatest loudspeaker manufacturers and designers the world has ever known. I wish he was alive today, but we have his legacy, we have his technology, we have his wisdom, we have much of his knowledge. And so we've just taken a course where we're going to craft systems that capture the magic you want to see again. And that's the only way I know to do it. Okay, thanks. Great question. And I'm sorry it's that way, but we will try our best to fix it. Okay, thanks.